finally see the character that we've been waiting for such a long time. Sonic the Hedgehog 3, without a doubt, is the best movie of the whole Sonic the Hedgehog franchise. Not only because the plot was incredibly rich in new characters and incredibly action-packed storyline, but also because it had such an incredible ending, because we finally see Amy Rose herself, the only main character that was missing in the puzzle of the Sonic franchise, because the whole Sonic universe is centered around Sonic, Shadow, Tails, Knuckles, and Amy Rose. And since the appearance of Amy Rose is in the ending and the post-credit scene of the Sonic the Hedgehog 3 movie, it really creates the whole big question of what's gonna be the next scene of Amy Rose in the Sonic movie 4. And that's what we're gonna talk about here today, guys. We have a lot of information regarding the first scene between Sonic and Amy Rose meeting for the first time in the Sonic the Hedgehog 4 movie, because we see in the ending that they meet in there, but we don't see a conversation going on. We don't see how the first interaction between these two main characters is gonna be. And that's why in today's video, we're gonna be analyzing the first encounter between Amy Rose and Sonic in a recent leak and information that was updated about the Sonic the Hedgehog 4 movie, since it was officially confirmed that it was already in the works. So without further ado, guys, let's just get right into it. So the new update for the Sonic the Hedgehog 4 movie comes as an IMDb leak of a person who claims to be working in the process of the Sonic movie 4, because let's remember that the movie is quite not there yet. It's still in the writing process and the writers are still working on it. But this is basically the plot line that they're gonna follow according to this IMDb leak. Amy Rose's first scene is gonna be an introduction of a harrowing setting. The movie opens up to us after the events of the Sonic the Hedgehog 3 movie, where Shadow's introduction and the Chaos Emeralds left the world on the brink of chaos. Sonic and his friends have gone into relative quiet, but remain wary of new threats. This first scene takes place in a bustling small town near Green Hills, surrounded by dense forests and mountains, which is really according to the post-credit scene, because we see that Sonic is running away from the Metal Sonics in a forest and foggy setting. So the scene is going to be a stormy encounter. The camera pans across a rainy, foggy evening in the outskirts of a small village. GUN agents are shown searching for someone, scanning the area with drones and vehicles. The camera then cuts to their objective, a faint glowing heat signature moving through the trees, fast and erratic. Target sighted, says one of the agents, and he whispers it to one of his communicators. As the agents corner the figure in a clearing, a lightning strike, revealing a young pink hedgehog wearing a red dress carrying a large heart-shaped hammer. Then it switches to Amy Rose's perspective and Amy Rose's answer to these details. Her face is defiant, but there isn't a hint of worry in her eyes. Then in the section we have Amy's motivation, which says that Amy calls out to the agents, "Why are you following me? I told you I don't have what you're looking for." But one of the agents steps forward, revealing that they aren't after her, but they're after something she found, a Chaos Emerald. Amy grips her backpack tightly, refusing to give it up. As they move in to apprehend her, she swings her hammer around, the legendary Pico Pico hammer, sending a shockwave that knocks several agents back. "I didn't come all of this way to let you take it," she says. Despite her bravery, she's outnumbered, and the drones begin to close in on her. Sonic then enters the scene in this way. As the things look green for Amy, a streak of blue light flashes across the scene, knocking out the drones and scattering the GUN agents. Sonic skids in to stop them, his trademark cocky grin on full display, and he says to her, "Looks like you could've used a little help." And that is basically the first encounter that these two guys have with each other, and the first dialogue that they say to each other. But let's remember that Amy, in the games and in the series of the Sonic the Hedgehog franchise, is in absolute love with Sonic. So in this dialogue of the Sonic the Hedgehog 4 movie, she freezes, her expression shifting from shock to wide-eyed excitement. "You are Sonic the Hedgehog? I've heard so much about you." And we're gonna get to this because it's really important later into the video. Her fangirling moment is cut short as the agents regroup and call in reinforcements. Sonic smirks and says, "We'll chat later, Pinky. Right now, let's show these guys what teamwork looks like." Then Sonic and Amy work together to evade the agents. Amy wields her hammer with surprising skill, which many people think that she is incredibly weak, but Amy Rose with the Pico Pico hammer is absolutely powerful, smashing vehicles and deflecting drone fire, while Sonic zips around creating chaos. Their teamwork is imperfect. Amy's inexperience causes a few close calls, but her enthusiasm and determination impresses Sonic every moment of the way. At one point, Amy saves Sonic by smashing a collapsing tree with her hammer, earning a quick not bad from him. After escaping the agents, Sonic and Amy catch their breath in a hidden cave. Amy reveals her backstory. She's been searching for Sonic for months, drawn by stories of his heroism. She stumbled upon the Chaos Emeralds while investigating strange energy surges near her village, which put her on the GUN radar. She's determined to help Sonic and his friends, even if she's the new superhero. Sonic then, touched by her determination, agrees to take her to meet Tails and Knuckles, but warns her that this life isn't all fun and games. If you're with us, you're not in for the long run. Amy nods confidently. Her crush on Sonic is already beginning to blossom. As they leave the cave, the camera lingers on the Chaos Emeralds, glowing faintly in Amy's bag, hinting at its importance in the story to come, foreshadowing the bigger threat in the final moments of the scene. The camera shifts to the GUN commander, receiving a report on Amy's escape. She's made contact with Hedgehog. The commander says ominously. Behind him, a shadowy figure looms, watching the events unfold on a screen. It's the upgraded version of Metal Sonic, the one that controls them all, because we know that the army of Metal Sonic is controlled by the bigger Metal Sonic, who in turn is controlled by the GUN agents in the movie, and not by Eggman as in the games, because Eggman is not going to come back, as Jim Carrey really made it clear that this was going to be his last movie. So, understanding this incredibly accurate plot for the Sonic movie 4, we have to understand a few details and go over each of one of these lines one by one. If we go back to the plot of the Sonic movie 4 in the IMDb page, we see that she says, "You're Sonic the Hedgehog? I've heard so much about you," and this is pretty interesting for people that don't know about Amy Rose's background, because how does she know him if she never even met him in the first place? Well, Amy Rose goes in search of Sonic in the games for several reasons, and the reason number one is in Sonic CD, released in 1993. Amy Rose is introduced as a big fan of Sonic, and she explicitly is looking for him in the game because of her infatuation. She follows Sonic to the little planet where she hopes to meet him. Along the way, of course, she gets taken by Metal Sonic, which sets up a rescue mission for Sonic, and it's one of the games and levels that we play in the game. But the reason why she follows him is because she heard so much of Sonic's adventures in her planet. Sonic becomes like a celebrity in her mind, and she becomes infatuated completely with him to the point of risking her life and going to another planet just to find him. And having Sonic save her in Sonic CD only increases her romantic feelings towards him, and after this game, she follows him in every single Sonic adventure. We see her in Sonic Adventures, Sonic Heroes, Sonic Battles, Sonic Generations. Amy's searches for Sonic often combine her romantic feelings and her desire to be part of his adventures and his life. While her motivations are sometimes comedic or exaggerated, like in the game of Sonic Generations, her determination and loyalty is also highlighted very much, along with her bravery and willingness to help others. So knowing all of these details, this plot in the IMDb leak seems incredibly accurate to say the least, because it really expresses every single thing that happened in the games, along with creating such a special outlook on it to make it an original film for the Sonic movie 4. Especially when we take into account the introduction of the IMDb leak, because it tells us exactly everything we see at the ending of the post-credits. The foggy scenery, the rain, the forest, the Metal Sonic surrounding them, but we miss something that it's actually going to be an exclusive, which is the GUN agents coming in after Amy appears on Earth for the first time, and then Sonic coming to save her, as well as the first dialogue that they have with each other. So what do you guys think? Do you think this is a great beginning to the Sonic movie 4?